This is how you come down. What's going on, people? Woke up alive again. Sarah's getting better. It's pretty slow. There's some some kind of something's going on, but nothing life-threatening, just discomfort. She can't do much. But she's on the mend. Now let's get right into it. I got one little quick topic I'm going to throw down. I remember yesterday I was talking about near misses with people and this dog man killing a lot of people. There's a lot of people who boldly say that, quote, dog men are killing people and are the rival enemies of Sasquatch, end quote. Now, I'm not telling anybody they're lying. I'm not saying anybody's lying at all. But what my brain does is it says to me, how do you know? How do you know? Right? Like, it's tough for me to boldly say something to everybody as a statement. I always say it as a question. Everything I got is a question, right? Or a maybe. You know, it's like, well, maybe I wonder, not, okay, just so you guys know, dogmen are killing people all over the world nonstop. Imagine if I said that sentence and delivered it that way, right? You'd all be going, huh? Holy shit, how do you know this? I don't. No, I'm not saying they're not. I haven't a freaking clue. There's a lot of things going on the planet that I do not know about. I got an idea about, but I don't know directly. Now, follow along with me. In my circles, I used to be heavily into the international hunters circle. I knew everybody, right? Everybody who was anybody in a way. Not everybody who's anybody, but when you were guiding people from around the globe nonstop, these guys are all members of these international hunting clubs, SCI, Boone and Crockett, the Wild Sheep groups, FNAZ, a lot of big, everybody's rubbing shoulders with hunters from around the globe. Everybody's name dropping. Everybody would come and hunt with us at our outfit. I run in circles of numerous British Columbia hunters, numerous hunting guides, numerous loggers. See, what I'm saying is I do have direct contact with a lot of people who are in the woods a lot and around the globe. And because of that, I know firsthand a fair amount of people who have been attacked by, say, grizzly bears. I have friends with scars on their body from being attacked by a grizzly bear and surviving. Sat there, listened to him tell me the story, okay? When you get into a professional hunting community, these stories are quite common. Cougars, the odd wolf, coyotes, and also near misses. The amount of people I know that have had near misses meaning a grizzly bear coming to get them and didn't quite pull it off. I mean, that's happened to me I don't know how many times, right? So what I'm saying is, if grizzly bears, as an example, just a random species to throw out there, if grizzly bears are attacking people, hate human beings and are attacking them, you're going to have near misses. You're also going to have people who got into it and survived, meaning they got some scars to tell about, to show. Same with shark attacks. Lots of people see sharks. Lots of people had a shark dart at them, they hit it with a spear and thwarted that attack, survived it, but have the first-hand tale of a shark coming straight at them and almost getting them. There's a lot of people who are missing limbs from shark attacks. They're easy to find. So, what I am saying, because I am so I am so familiar with the outdoors. I'm absolutely familiar with the dangers, the risks. I'm absolutely familiar with a lot of people that run around the middle of nowhere. Whereas I'm not familiar with a lot of people that go to universities. I'm not familiar with a lot of people in sciences. What else? I'm not familiar with a lot of people who are into creating artificial intelligence. I wouldn't have a clue. I don't know nothing that goes on in those fields, but I have a shit pile of experience when it comes to the wilds, the mountains, the forests, and hunters in those forests around the world, right? And I don't know, just me, I do not know one person who has seen a large upright being with a canine head trying to attack their partner or them. I do not know anybody, and I've never heard of anybody firsthand ever that has had a large, let's just say an average height, 9 foot tall, hair, fur covered being that looked like a frickin' wolf person who attacked them, and they survived, and they've got the scar to show from that 8 foot tall thing with the dog-like, wolf-like head on it. I don't know one. I haven't even heard a half a rumor in my entire outdoor career. I haven't heard nothing. Nothing, right? Nothing. I don't know anybody who's got a friend of a cousin of a neighbor who ran for their life from a pack of dogmen trying to kill them and escaped and made it in the house and slammed the door and they were pawing out the window. Nothing. Don't know. And a lot of people get a flood emails, you got to go check out this YouTube channel. Well, YouTube channel ain't going to do shit for me. Really? It's the same deal. I mean, how would it be that I can run? In my book, my latest hunting book that I just am so close to completing. I mean, I was doing the math. I used to do grand total of 250 solid days in the mountains and forests of British Columbia, from British Columbia to the Yukon, an average of 250 days a year, and then tack on even more days a year out of home when I run up into the mountains and go do my trail cameras and make salt licks and stuff. So we're talking shit piles of amounts of time in those forests, man. Right? And I brush shoulders with people who do the same thing. And I have a funny feeling that with my reach in the outdoor world, I am going to probably come across somebody with a scar from surviving an attack. I'm probably going to come across somebody with a first-hand story of something trying to, quote, kill them and surviving it. Far more chances of me doing that than me finding it on a YouTube channel. Hope that's making sense, right? I know this is a YouTube channel. I know this is a YouTube channel. But even that said, on this channel, listening to all of you, we have not had anybody here directly tell us, this thing got a hold of me, started shredding me, I shot it in the face with my 45 or whatever. Or I was hung with my dad and it took my dad down, I shot it in the back of the head and got it off of him and we got the hell out of there. My dad's got these bite marks in his ass cheek. We haven't heard that once. Not once. Right? Now, I'm not saying it's not happening. I'm just saying there's a fair amount of people out there who boldly go out of their way to email me to tell me that dogmen are killing people like crazy. There's military teams out there annihilating the bad ones, and Sasquatch and dogman hate each other. Those are some frickin' and I listen to everybody. So for me to listen, I listen to that. For me to listen to that statement from anybody, okay, you got my attention. How do you know this? I'm waiting. I want to know how you know this. I want to know of one of my fellow hunters in the world who has seen all of a sudden a flurry of helicopters up in the sky. They came over and they annihilated the dogmen from the air running around the forest. Not one, man. I don't have one fellow outdoors person relaying me that first-hand experience. Not one. But there's lots of that shit being told on stories on YouTube channels. Do I think it's a load of bullshit? Maybe it's just the roll of the dice, you know? Maybe it's just like playing cards. I keep getting this shitty hand, but meanwhile that blackjack is sitting right there. It just hasn't come my way yet. I don't know. Right? If anybody, I would like to think, if anybody currently today that we have contact with, i.e. me, if anybody's probably going to come across somebody who survived a physical attack from something with a dog-like head on it. I'm probably going to hear about it. I know a shit pile of people firsthand who have seen 8 to 10 foot tall, hairy, human-like beings in the forest. I know a shit pile of people, and I've spoke directly firsthand to them. There isn't a question about it. I've seen the damn, I shouldn't even say it, I've seen the beings. Okay. I don't know one person who has seen a dogman type of being. I don't know one. I haven't met anybody in person, looked into their eyes, friend of mine, fellow Doors person who's seen a dogman. I don't know one. Do I believe in them? I have to believe them because I have to believe in I have to accept the fact these things are running around because of the amount of people that have come here and shared that information. It's too many. And I do not have the power to make somebody write down a bullshit story and send it to me. I don't have that kind of power and manipulation of the masses. I just don't. I don't, right? I don't request it. I don't request anything. I just say, hey, you got something you want to share with the people. You got something that might help me or the people or help you. Get it to me. That's about all I do. I don't say, hey, man, I'm going to give you $100,000 if you come up with the best dogman bullshit story and send it to me, etc. Anyway, I'm rambling, but that's what's going on in my head this morning when I woke up. It just there's a few things that aren't adding up. There's a lot of shit that isn't adding up, but the dogman thing killing a pile of people. I'm listening. You got my attention. I'm not the one, especially at this stage of the game in my education, my re-education of real truth. I'm not the guy who's going to go, you lying idiot, shut up. I don't have that in me. You've got my attention, but I need more. I need to know more. I want to talk to somebody. I want to hear from somebody who saw one of these things, get a hold of their partner or them or their friend, whatever, and they managed to get away. I want to see the scars. I want to hear about the shit. I want to talk to somebody who saw the military guys killing a dog man. I want to hear from somebody who saw that firsthand. I've had helicopters in the back here at midnight. Last year we had 2 or 3 times in the midweek there was a helicopter. I mean, we're talking, it sounded like it was in the trees in the middle of the night. So yeah, there's no question about it. Helicopters are doing some weird shit out there. But how many of you here today have seen these helicopters in the middle of the night, right over the timber, immediately after a dogman sighting, after you saw something that looked like a dogman? How many? You know what I mean? Like I'm hearing a lot of, well, apparently there was helicopters all over the place that night. Apparently. Okay. Anyways, I'm rambling a little bit. I'm not saying it's not happening. Obviously, it's got my curiosity. Obviously, otherwise I wouldn't even bring it up. Brought it up. I want to know. I want to know. I want to know more. I want to know. Especially me. Right? There's something in the woods, quote, killing humans all the time, end quote. I want to know about it, and I want to look into it, and I want to expose it, and I want to know every single effing detail there is about it. Right? I don't want to be shuffled over to a YouTube channel. I don't want to be shuffled over to some other place that starts off with a freaking cartoon. That loses me. The second I see somebody's opening on a channel with a cartoon or some kind of farce shit or spooky music, I'm out. It's bullshit. I'm not saying it's bullshit. I'm saying for me, that is an instant in my face flavor of bullshit. I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear from people firsthand, straight up. Get a hold of me and share with me exactly what you saw, what you know. That's what I want. All right? Maybe I'll sound a little frustrated. I probably am, because I want to get to the bottom of the shit, and I keep hearing a lot of shit. But we don't have any near misses. We don't have anybody with scars. We don't have anybody who actually was physically touched by one of these things and fought it off and has shared that with us. We've had them running beside a vehicle. Look, at that thing wanted to get at me. I know it did. Through the window. Did get a hold of you, though. Did smash the glass and grab you and snatch you out, though, did it? Right? Nobody was driving down the highway and watched a 8-foot, 10-foot tall dogman thing smash the windshield out of a parked regular rest stop and pulled the driver out. Said nobody ever yet. But I have a funny feeling if these beings are killing humans all over the place, somebody's probably seen that shit go down or a near miss. Right? Get a hold of me. Get it to me. Okay? Because if I want to know, I'm not saying it's not happening. I'm not hammering on people who have experiences with Dogman. You got my attention. I want to know. I want to know, where are these beings killing human beings or maiming or wounding human beings? I want to hear about it, and I want to hear about it from those people. All right? So if you are one of those people and you haven't emailed us with your scars and your story of being physically attacked by one of these effing things yet, I want to hear from you. There you go. Now, I hope I got myself across clear, but you know what, even though I can't stress clear enough, I'm not shitting on people who see Dogman. I'm not. And there's going to be a lot of loose cannons out there that go, you son of a bitch, you're shitting on people with the stories and you said you wouldn't. I'm not shitting on anybody, so get your head out of your ass. All right? I already know I'm going to get that reaction, and that's why I'm saying that ahead of time. Get your head out of your ass. This is me being curious and frustrated because I'm not hearing this, and I want to hear more. That's what I'm saying. But I don't want to hear, I heard this on a YouTube channel. I heard this over here. I heard this through a friend of mine who watches the other channel. I don't want to hear about that. I have a reach to frickin' tens of thousands of fellow outdoors people, professional guides. I haven't heard one. That's who I want to hear from. All right? Share my story, howtohunt.com. Get it to me. Now, what do we got going on here today? We got a lot. Got a lot. I'm almost at my tail end of, I'm going to come out from being a hermit soon, and believe me, I have been a hermit. I haven't spoke to anybody outside of this property. I was up till midnight last night trying to frickin' get this book done. It was so hard. It's so hard when you are an outdoors guy, a trades guy. You jump into this internet shit trying to figure stuff out and learn for yourself. It's trial and error. And I've theme of my life, trial and error. But I'm winning. Hopefully today's the last day. Get this thing done. And then I start moving forward again, and I won't be a hermit, and I'll contact everybody and I'll get going. Now, this is titled Sasquatch. Hello, Steve. I have a few short stories to share with you, and I'm sure you get hammered with emails, so I'll try to keep it quick. A little background, I'm 22, and I've probably spent more time in the timber than most people get to in their lives. Hunting is not just a passion, it's a priority. Whatever time of year that I can be in the woods chasing game legally, I will. Once deer and duck season have passed, I usually like to chase predators. A few years back, a buddy of mine and I were hunting coyotes in the dead center of the Ozark Mountains. You can legally red light hunt coyotes with the proper permits. We're up one of our bigger mountains in our area at around 2 a.m. Our mountains aren't massive, but they are very steep, and the spot was no different. There was a small trail that switched back down a bluff wall into an incredibly thick briar and sapling bottom that we were hoping to call a coyote or bobcat out of. We made it to the bottom of the bluff, called our set, and started to make our way back out to the next area. And as you can imagine, a red light adds an eerie tint to the area around. I'm going to interrupt real quick. Yes, it does. I was in West Virginia years ago. These rednecks took me out at night, and we stood up in the, drove into the bush, creepier and shit, stood up in the box of this truck. They had a cassette player attached to a speaker. They put it on the cab of the truck, hit this thing, and it belted out fox pup squeals. And then they had the red light, because apparently the canines don't see the red light spectrum. These foxes were coming up to within 10 feet of the truck, see their eyeballs coming through the woods. It was a pretty crazy thing to witness. I didn't have a clue about that red light thing, but the red light lens, canines can't see it. Isn't that bizarre? Sorry about that, but I had to get that out, otherwise I would have forgot. The bottom was dead calm, but the mountain was ripping with wind all around us. I started to have a really bad gut feeling as we were switchbacking our way back up the bluff wall. I kept pointing my rifle to the tops of the bluff, scanning for a reason I can't explain. My buddy felt the feeling too and started to look with me. At the top of the second switchback, we stopped and looked to the top of a 100-foot wet weather waterfall, dripping water above us. When we stopped, our lights managed to fall at the same spot where there were some car-sized boulders at the top. At that moment, 3 rocks about the size of baseballs came airborne over the top of the bluff, right where the next switchback led up to. They hit 10 feet in front of us and bounced to our feet. My buddy looked at me and I looked back, and we hauled ass, back to back, scanning the timber and bluffs the whole way. We never saw anything and went through all possibilities. There's no way a person would be throwing rocks at 2 a.m. at 2 armed men 45 minutes down a steep, snow-covered dirt road in the middle of nowhere. We were afraid that the sound of our dying rabbit call may have attracted it, and it was stuck into the back of my mind every time I sneaked to a deer spot in the dark. I'm right there with you. You're not alone on that one. I'd share my father's story, but I was not there. I wouldn't want to get any details wrong. He had a sighting in the mid-90s. I'll attach a picture. One of my dad's elk hunting buddies sent him from a creek bed in the Rockies, miles and miles on horseback from civilization, while preparing to guide a few hunters. He photographed the footprints following this creek bed for a short distance, and then it left into the surrounding timber. Good wishes to you. There you go. Here's another one. You guys see that? It's going to be easier for me to do this sometimes, just the simple footprint picture anyway, right? There you go. That's interesting. Well, there's another one from the same person attached to the bottom of this one. I'm not sure if it's too late to attach to my first email, but another odd experience within 20 miles happened as well. You are a fellow bow hunter and probably well know that when you smoke a deer, they run into the thickest, nastiest place to die. My same friend was coyote hunting. I was coyote hunting with, had shot a buck with his bow. He asked me to help retrieve the deer because I had more experience blood trailing, and it was a high lung hit, so the deer wasn't bleeding much. The deer was shot on a ridge and ran into one of the deepest hollers I've ever seen. It is hand over hand climbing sapling dogwoods and redbuds to get out of there. That sucks. Sucks meaning if you get a carcass down there, getting it out, that sucks. We found this deer and I was helping him gut it. We faced the hind quarters of the deer downhill to help with the draining of the blood, and I held onto the front legs to make sure the deer didn't slide down the super steep holler. I always wear a hat while hunting, and this becomes important in a minute. When he was halfway done with the deer, something smacked into my nose below my eye. It bounced off of me and hit my friend in the jacket. We stopped and asked what in the hell was that. We looked down to find a large red oak acorn. There's absolutely no way this acorn could have fell and hit me. I was wearing a cap. Therefore, I couldn't have hit my face from above. It hit me from a lateral angle. The holler is so steep that the other side directly across isn't very far away across, and I'm assuming whatever was over there, chucked it from that side. After the acorn hit, after the acorn hit me, everything went completely still. My buddy was terrified, but I told him to keep going because, as much as I wanted to, there was no sense in letting this nice buck go to waste. We had a long drag up to the top of the hill to the pickup truck, and I could swear I could hear something across the holler. But as a hunter, you have a job to do, and we did it. We loaded the truck and left. Thanks for listening. I hope my experience rings true with other hunters out there to pay attention to what goes on around you. I used to have a really hard time believing all the stories, but is starting to come together in my head. Thanks for listening. Thanks for sending that in, man. Appreciate you. And I can relate so many ways to that email. You know, there's a lot of people that, excuse me, I guess after coming across this channel and listening, a lot of people have little knee-jerk memories of experiences they had years ago. It also comes back to them and they start to figure shit out. And that's happened to me as well. There's this one particular incident, kind of bugs me still today, but it's emails like this that remind me of it. It was probably, it would have been before that being was watching me from on the rock. Same place. Would have been before that, because I don't think I went back there after that. And I think I described before, you go up the mountain, all about this old deactivated road. There's no gate at the very bottom. You can't drive up there. And you go all the way up. I don't know, almost an hour, probably. Yeah, about an hour. And then you go through the pass. So it's real steep. Garage goes up to the peak, and then frickin' straight down forever. And I mean steep. Nothing but sheer cliffs and big fir, cedar, dogwood trees. It goes straight down on the other side. So I would go up the road through that top pass where I was shitting myself, like, what the hell? Ugh, I just couldn't stand going through. I was so vulnerable. I felt very vulnerable going through that pass every single time. But then it would drop down, hook around to an open landing. And there's a few stumps and shit around there, surrounded by moss bluffs, big fir trees, and straight down to the left. I mean, straight down. Dangerous straight down in that timber. And I was with a friend. Yeah, I had a buddy of mine with me that night. It was in the evening, same deal. And I go down that landing. That's why I hunted that landing, because deer would come out there. It's a good spot to find a buck. And I shot this deer, this buck, young buck, with my bow. He takes off, quartering away, straight downhill to my left, peak to my right. I'm facing north. Peak is to my right. The road to get in there, the old road is behind me, slipping up behind me this way, coming in. And right directly ahead of me is the landing. And direct ahead is the steep timber line going down to nowhere down below. Well, he goes into that timber. And it's very, very, very last seeing light. And for all you non-hunters out there, when you get an arrow into any big game animal, they die by hemorrhage. So they need time to pass on, right? And if you go running after them right away, well, they're going to get up and get adrenalized, and they're going to take off. You're probably going to be able to track them. It'll be real hard to find them. So follow me. Now we're talking, I'm young. 17, 16. And at that time, on Vancouver Island, there was always people talked about packs of wild dogs. There was lots of wild dogs. Actually, apparently they bred in with a bunch of the island wolves too. And everybody says, you know, make sure you shoot those wild dogs. They're more dangerous than anything. Blah, blah, blah. So you're a kid. So you've always got this in the back of your mind. Oh, wild dogs. And so we got up early the next morning, hiked all the way up there. I went into the woods, started blood trail. I remember the blood on top of those big boulders. And then it went to this edge of the steep cliff, went right off the edge of the cliff. Like, oh shit, he's definitely down there. And then we had to, took us for a while, we had to really worm our way to get around that cliff and down to where this deer was. And he's upside down, all smashed up a bit. And I'll never forget this. And at the time, I blamed it on the wild dogs. I never seen a wild dog around, but now, today, well, actually, I never seen a wild dog around there ever. As in, never, not even a footprint. See, I ran into a cougar in there. And I never heard wolves howling. I never heard dogs barking. I never heard sign of a dog ever. But you know what? Once we got our hands on that deer, and now that I look back, I look back to that memory of that sound. That wasn't no pack of freaking wild dogs. At the time, we thought it must be a pack of wild dogs coming up to us, because it was coming from way down below, and that sound was coming in, closing in on us very rapidly, and it scared the living shit out of us, to the point we dropped what we were doing and deserted that deer carcass and scrambled up to get up on that cliff, and we took off. End of story. And all, and for years after that, I probably just threw it in the files in the back of my mind thinking, man, remember that time the wild dogs got your deer? I don't think so. Right? Not now. Not now with the experience I have, the knowledge I have now. I don't think that was wild dogs at all. I think that was that gibberish, crazy-ass shit coming from these beings that are coming up the slope to come steal my deer. That's what I think now, without a doubt. Anyway, I've also been in a vehicle, getting back to you getting pelted in the face with that acorn. Just a handful of years ago, I was in a vehicle near Mount Currie. And I was a passenger, and we're actually driving into a zone where these beings are all the time because this person was curious. And pine cones started bouncing off the top of the Jeep. I was in the Jeep, and we were about 50 yards from the edge of the timber. And it was back, by then it was like past seeing light had ended. That's my only experience with shit flying. Well, maybe one of them anyway. I've had stuff thrown at me around here, right? Anyway, I'm babbling. Let's get some more people heard. People are going to be angry with me for speaking again. I'm not reading. Here's another one. Encounter in Washington State and Idaho. I believe I have had several experiences with the Sabe. I was 15 years old. I lived in, oh boy, here we go. Machias, Machias, by Granite Falls, Snohomish County, Washington State, off OK Mill Road. My father was a logger and an excavator operator. He built me many riding trails on our property back in the dense forest. Every day after school, I'd ride my horse back in the forest on our property on the trail. My favorite trail made a loop up and downhill. The scenery was beautiful. Rain or shine, every day I rode on this trail. I was on the trail heading behind our property to logging roads that led to clear-cut and more dense forest. While I was riding, my horse stops abruptly on the trail and plants her feet. My mare refuses to move. I look down, trying to figure out what is causing her to balk. I've never seen this before. 2 wolves on the trail, right in front of us, less than 3 feet from us. That's close. We all stand there frozen, staring at each other. The hair raises on the shoulders of the wolves. I thought it was a male and a female, or an elder and a younger wolf. It was brief. They took off running, in a blink of an eye, gone out of sight. Been riding there for 6 years, nearly every day, never saw any predators. I was thinking, wow, that's crazy. I continue cautiously on the trail towards the logging roads. I ride out to the clearing of the cut trees, and a massive scream over the ridge hits us. It vibrates through my chest. My hair raises on my neck and I stop, not sure what to do. All I know, it was massive and loud, a ridge over. I continue riding. I never told anyone about it until years later. Pretty sure it was the Sabe. It was a late fall afternoon, approximately 4:30 p.m. About 2020, I Googled Bigfoot sightings, Snohomish County near Granite Falls, Washington. Over 1,100 sightings. That's a couple. Thank you, Steve. I enjoy your channel. Also grew up hunting in Idaho. Christine, in Idaho, cowgirl. Christine, appreciate you. You guys got a lot of wolves there. A lot of wolves. Could be coincidence. Could be a weird, funny coincidence that those 2 experiences went down at the same time, right? Saying, I speculate maybe they're related, but I kind of doubt it. Kind of doubt that was a directly related, seeing those wolves close to your horses and then the scream. I think that was probably a shit-eating coincidence. But if obviously those beings, or one was around there, it could have possibly thrown off the normal caginess of the wolves that caused them or enabled them to kind of screw up in a way and be right in front of you. Crazy. We still haven't had I don't believe we have heard a recording of the sounds that are being described by many people here. That strong in-your-face pattern you cannot ignore is people's chest vibrating. I haven't heard one sound, well, actually, no, once. Once we did get it, we got the sound delivered to us from some guys that were cutting firewood south of Fort McMurray in Alberta. They sent in a sound that sounded like that. And it's on one of my videos. I don't know where the hell it is, sorry. But it's on my video list. So once we have. But I have a funny feeling if somebody were to record that clearly, close up, wouldn't it not shake as well the mic? Wouldn't you be able to tell with the mic that it was that powerful? I mean, sound is a vibration, right? So if the sound is so powerful, it vibrates through the entire body, the chest, the ground of the person witnessing the sound. If they were to get lucky and record that sound at the same time, I have a funny feeling you might, maybe, I don't know, you should be able to hear the distortion in the recording as well, right? I would think. So that's why I'm just saying, I don't think anybody's really clearly recorded that yet. That significant sound. Anyway, shit does happen in the wilds with predators. I've had wolves. I had one time I was hanging up a deer leg in some thick willows so I could trap these wolves. And I felt like something was staring at me, something was there. And it was too thick to see around. I saw a hole down below and I put my head down. I could see the legs of 3 different wolves standing right there, maybe 30 feet away from me. That was pretty close for a wolf. What else? I shot a wolf right in the face with a shotgun, sawed-off shotgun with slugs and no sights one time. That was really close. And another time riding, which I can relate, is I had a friend of mine from Alabama. He's riding behind me on a tight trail, pissing down rain on our horses, guiding up north, middle of frickin' nowhere. Pissing rain. And it was early September, so the leaves are still green on the trees, and we're riding through a burn, so you know it's all willow leaves, buckbrush leaves. So the sound from the rain hitting them was very loud. And then right below us, just inside the bush line, there's a hand trail that I cut earlier, side hilling up a steep mountain face in the burn, and it was raining so hard that what normally is dry ground had water rushing on it right beside us. So a ride up the trail, obviously it's cold out. We're going uphill, so that makes the wind dropping down as a rule. Cold air drops, so the wind's in my face, the noise is horrendous, and the bush is so thick it's stupid. Like you're literally brushing, the leaves are brushing on your shoulders, on your horse. And all of a sudden, this great big grizzly bear walks out onto the trail, literally right in front of me on my horse. Like, I'm looking down on it. I'm not looking up ahead of it. I'm looking down on it. And the ass in that grizzly bear covered its head from view from me. And I just saw the corner of its head swing out. And it's eating the green grass, taking a mouthful of grass as it's just ambling up the trail. That bear was probably, I don't know, what's that, 10 feet? 10 feet in front of me? Now you go sit on top of a horse and then go 10 feet in front of the horse and then look at where that spot is. You're looking down at it. It's right there. I'm like, oh my God. But then it got worse. The bear just starts ambling along, and then all of a sudden, this grizzly cub, about the size of a kid's stuffy, I thought, I mean, this thing was a tiny cub. It steps out on the trail between me and the frickin' mom grizzly bear, who's now about 14 feet ahead of me, 15 feet ahead of my horse. And horses don't give a shit about grizzly bears. They don't. They just don't. They don't warn you. They don't give a shit. My horse has got its ears up like this. And everything goes absolute slow motion when that shit goes down. And I'm thinking I'm done. Because the second, then the cub actually went like this. And turned around and is looking up at me. Just like that. I got this grizzly cub that big, kind of half sitting down, looking up at me like this. I'm sitting in my saddle. And everything's slow motion. I'm looking at the cub, looking at mom, looking at the cub, looking at mom, thinking, I'm not going to get time to even get my hand on my rifle or my shotgun, whatever I had that day in my scabbard. And it was just such a real shit-eating tenth of a second moment, you know. And Mom just kept on walking the trail, and I'm just like, please God, don't say anything. Don't tell your mom. Don't tell your mom, right? And I started. Thank God, my friend behind me, he's a professional horseman, rodeo guy in the States. And I look back, his eyeballs were that freaking big, and he was already backing his horse up. And I started backing my horse up. I'm like, oh my God, I can survive, right? Oh my God. Because you can't turn around. It's just like this, that steep. And the bushes are on your shoulders, right? Imagine the noise. You're terrified of making the noise of trying to swing your horse around. And as soon as that grizzly bear turns around and sees that cub, you closer to her football-sized cub than her, you're between... The cub's between you and her, and you are facing them and coming up the trail behind them from downwind. You are, in, as far as I'm concerned, a wildlife world, you are 100% guilty of trying to kill her cub to eat it, in her eyes, in wildlife rules. Oh man, I got goosebumps right now again remembering that moment. That was a shitty deal. And I guess God was there that day. And allowed me to back. I backed my horse up probably 10 feet, spun it around, and dug in, man. My heels were freaking snapping ribs of that horse. Go! And we are, thank God my buddy, my hunter with me at the time could ride. Because we was like the Man's from Snowy River, right? Remember that movie, that Aussie show, the horses all bail and running, the running race straight down the mountain? That's what we were doing. It's just as steep, giving her. And you're just waiting to feel the teeth or claws or whatever, your horse bucking you off from whatever. Anyways, we made it. But sorry about that interruption, you guys. But you reminded me of that moment for me and my horse. Sometimes these things happen, right? Is what I'm saying. Sometimes these things happen, and when we have a predator or some crazy-ass wildlife sighting right in our face, and something happens coincidentally with one of these beings, it's not necessarily always connected. It's not necessarily connected with each other, right? Of course, people are going to start saying, oh no, he was looking at you through the wolf's eyes. You know somebody's going to say that, although they weren't there, right? Moving along. One more. This is titled, What the Hell Is That? Question mark. Green Swamp, Florida. Green Swamp, we've heard of that a bunch of times, haven't we? Excuse me. Steve, I'm looking for an opinion on what this may be in the picture. I was doing a solo kayak trip through part of the Green Swamp in west central Florida when I suddenly felt that something was off. I took 2 selfies since I couldn't see anything. I usually just video my trips. Later when I checked, I got completely creeped out about what was looking at me from behind. The title comes from the reaction of lifelong outdoorsmen from here whose first words were, what the hell is that? I'd like the opinion of the How to Hunt group, as I don't know what to make of it. The pictures are the original, and then zooming in. The second picture that I took was really blurry, as I'm still moving. I couldn't make out anything like a face. It appears to be gone, so I didn't include it. That place is on the edge of the wilderness area, and there are no trails in that area. I'm a retired cop of 40 years service with no pension for playing silly games. I add that only because I've heard people say mask or totem, etc. Nope, or I wouldn't have been able to at least find a trace of it in the second picture. It's in a remote part of the river. So it's ridiculous to think that somebody randomly put something 8 feet up in the trees in a place that is likely to never be seen. Opinions are welcome because I have no intention of stopping my kayak trips through the swamps. I'm in gator country, so I carry a .357 Magnum loaded with specialized hunting rounds and a large knife in my belt. But suddenly it all seems so inadequate. No, I haven't been back since because I've managed to break my ribs 3 different times in the past 18 months. Oh no, that sucks. 3 different times in 18 months. What are you, rodeo or something? I never see my wife's left hook coming. Yeah. Thanks for sharing this, brother. Appreciated your channel for years now. It's clear that you're a man of integrity. That trait cannot be faked. Stay strong. Thanks again, Gray Scout. Okay, here's the pictures. Bunch of them, so I'll include them in the video. That's kind of a weird thing, isn't it? Got good teeth. I don't know, man. Haven't a clue. Let's see if I described it. Let's just say I saw that. You didn't see it. I'm describing what I'm seeing in the woods. Well, I had a real wide mouth. Looked like it had teeth like ours. Big eyes, wide apart, but no body. Almost looks like a carved out coconut sitting on a stump. And I'm not saying that's what it is. But what I would say would be, too, possibly... It's kind of weird. I mean, if you look at the one picture, when you can see underneath the ground, it's an odd one. It looks like, it does, I gotta admit, it does look like some, with just the photograph and not being there, it does look like something placed on a branch, right? Because there's no wide shoulders, 4 or 5 feet wide shoulders below that chin. You'd see those suckers. There's no legs down below where you probably see the legs. Oh, I don't know, it's a confusing thing. It's not something I'd want to see kayaking in the swamps in Florida by myself. But anyway, you know what you might want to do? Try to recreate it. Go back there. Once you healed up, bring a friend, go back there. Get the friend to stand right there, or you or whoever. Put the kayak where you were. Take the picture again. Or a few. So I don't know. That's all I got to say. We'll see what people say about that in the comment section below. Who knows? You never know. We don't know. Maybe 10 people who live in Florida or Georgia or whatever are gonna go, I seen the exact same thing. You never know, right? Anyway, I hope those ribs heal up. That sucks. I've had broken ribs a couple times. It sucks. I smacked 3 ribs one time riding a quad to go catch horses, and I was flat out ripping along a fence line. There was a washed out drain at the bottom. Didn't see it. It did a big washout come. I didn't see it. I went straight, boom, stopped dead, bam, and the handlebars, broke my ribs. And 2 days later, I had to saddle up and take a hunter and a wrangler and 15 horses, about a 10-hour ride into the mountains, and then sleep on the ground and guide for mountain sheep. Oh my God! Every time I hear somebody breaking ribs, that memory comes back to mind. Broken ribs suck. But anyway, you gotta admit, that's a pretty weird looking picture, eh, man? It's pretty creepy. Very bizarre. Don't know. Somebody might know. Let's hear about it in the comment section below. Now, I'm gonna get ripping. I gotta get this damn book done, and then I'm gonna start communicating with the world again. It's been so hard. Teaching yourself. But anyway, I'll stop babbling. Share my story at howtohunt.com. All right? I want to hear your first-hand experiences. I want to hear your knowledge you've got to share with me. Anything you can help me or help the people through me or help you, I want to hear from you. All right? I want to hear from you. Especially right now, I want to know. I want to hear from somebody out there in the world who has first-hand visual of a dogman described type of being attacking a human being physically, getting a hold of a human being. I want to hear from somebody who's seen that, or somebody who has narrowly escaped one of these, something of that description, getting their hands or teeth on you, and you escaped, or even shredded your jacket, I don't give a shit, or smashed the window out of your vehicle while you're driving down the highway, but you still managed to elude them. I want to hear from you firsthand. If you have seen military helicopters flying over the forest and you have seen shots come out of those helicopters into the timber, I want to hear from you, right? If you have seen military guys all of a sudden show up in the forest, or you've been deer hunting forever, or you're coon hunting at night and you bump into military guys in the forest with helicopters, I want to hear from you. If you're here, all right? Please. And no, I don't want to be shuffled over to a YouTube channel. I don't. Okay? I want these. Listen, this is the most listened to channel in the world right now when it comes to this topic. Right? So if those people are out there, they're here. And I want to hear from you. Please. I don't have to share your name or your location. I don't give a shit. Share with me. I'm curious. I want to know. I want to know. All right? I really, really, really want to know if people are being killed by these beings. We know people are going missing. I know that. I know people are going missing. Here's another one. Do I know anybody firsthand that's gone missing in the forest out of all my travels? And rubbing shoulders. No, I know of one. There's one guy who went missing sheep hunting by himself in northern BC, but there was some nefarious dark sons of bitches that had an outfit area there, and apparently the word is they killed him. I don't know, but that's only one that I know of. That's it for as far as the missing persons go around here with people that I know directly. We know people are going missing. We know. But I want to hear about somebody who's got a scar on their ass from being chewed on or attacked or clawed, physically attacked from from something that resembles what's being described here. Huge, powerful, 8-10 foot tall with a wolf or a German Shepherd head. There you go. Enough babbling. I'm out of here. I'll be back tomorrow.